Welcome to the Law, Your Money, and You. I'm Roberta Saphire, an attorney in Sharon.
And I'm Camille Barron, a financial coordinator, also in Sharon. And today we have two of the most interesting and exciting guests on the show, you and me.
I agree. Yay!
Welcome.
Welcome.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I will. The funny thing is we call this behind the scenes. We let people know what we're doing, the results of what we sometimes do, even though we may not have a guest on the show. We're active doing things, and people love it. In fact, I watched a show a few weeks ago with just the two of us. I thought it was great.
It was. I saw the same show.
You saw the same
Yes.
show? It was great. Yeah, people, I'm telling you, I think I get more calls about us than anybody else. So we love this segment. We're talking about behind the scenes. This is behind the scenes, and for the occasion I got a brand new, you've got to be kidding bag.
Very
Look,
nice.
No rips, no tears.
Very nice. Mhm.
And we have a bunch of police officers are our friends, and we just delivered recently to the police department in the town of Easton.
That's
and
great.
It was great. You were there. You
I was
loved
there.
it. And
Now, how many towns have we already produced these books for?
in the past year, I think it's a little over a year, we have done 14.
Wow.
But the next one, in between, we still got about another dozen towns to do. And what we've done along the way is picked up new pages, new ideas, because we get new interns and new volunteers.
The nice thing about it is that the young people themselves are the ones who come up with the ideas.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
that's
they
who it's
do.
targeted to anyway, is the young
Yeah,
people.
and that's why we put their names on a lot of them. And
Yeah.
someone said to me today, do you want me to put the age on because they drew this picture 2 years ago? I says it's still good. Yeah, keep the age. And our next one in between that we really got two people working on with lots of love is the town of Sharon.
Our original.
Our original, and they are going to be so thrilled when they see the new one, because there's all new pages, and right on the front we're working on a new cover that says second edition.
Yeah, and the first edition just
Yeah.
the supply is gone. It's just been in
Yeah,
such great
isn't that
demand.
amazing? Over 1,000. First of all, there was over 1,000 printed, and these we did about 200. I mean, they really went, and the people love them, and they say, the police officers say it's a good breakthrough to cut the ice, and
Yeah,
it's important that children know that police officers are our friends.
that's right. And children are so impressionable that early on in their lives, when we can start to introduce these positive rather than the negative connotations about law enforcement, so much the better.
Yeah, we have a fellow who works for us, and he says it's amazing the quality of a person that has to be a police officer, because here, most of them, they wear their bulletproof vests, they got their gun, they got this job which is, you know, can be very stressful. Their lives are in their hand, and then they come home, and he says it was amazing. His son-in-law is a state police officer, and he says he sees him come home, take off his uniform, put on casual things, and then play with his 1-year-old.
Yeah.
And so, you know, they're people. Police officers are people,
Sure.
and they really deserve a lot of respect for what they do. Anyway, one of the other things, we did the financial literacy fair, and we brought it into Sharon, and
This
now
is about the
they're-
4th year now?
yeah, and they're really doing it on their own now.
Yeah.
And then one of the other things, we do a lot on scams and that. But one of the things I wanted to talk about, brought it up. In fact, you brought it up about warranties.
Yes, warranties. It's.
I always wondered why some people don't get warranties,
I wonder, what do you think is the reason?
because the company doesn't keep their word.
They don't. Really?
Yeah, they don't. I had one. I won't mention the company, but I bought a warranty, and then I had no problems with the. It was a washing machine, and then I had a 5-year warranty, and 3 years into it, I call a company for service, and they go, "Oh, well, we don't issue warranties on that." I said, well, I got the evidence, because I scan everything, which is a good idea. So after a few weeks, they sent me back my money for the warranty. But I sent them what's called a 93A letter, which is unfair and deceptive practices, which is really an unfair and deceptive practice. If somebody sells you a warranty and they don't keep it, that's unfair. And they sent me back my original money, but I still had to pay for somebody else to do a repair.
Yeah. It seems like whenever you buy anything these days, whether it's a phone or a computer or anything, anything that requires a little bit of an investment of some sort, they always ask, but how do you know if it's worthwhile?
Well, you don't. I mean, you have to. I remember years ago, my mother used to say, pay a little bit more, but buy from a company that has a good reputation. And those days, it was Jordans and Filene's, which are no longer around.
Right.
Because at least you know if something goes wrong with
Right.
it. But I know now, like let's talk about, everybody's had a plumbing warranty problem.
Okay.
Now, if you and I've had a lot of people call about this, just general warranties of plumbers. Say you have a plumbing problem and you call them on the 1st of the month.
You call the plumber?
Yeah, on the first, they come down the 1st of the month, they supposedly fix it, but a week later, they have to come back. So they come back 9 days later. You might have called them before, and they send you 2 bills. Now, one person said, how can they send you a bill? They should come back. They shouldn't charge you for the second one. What's your take on that?
If something that happened, if the second
Same
visit,
thing.
if it was the same problem, in other words, the original problem wasn't corrected, then of course they shouldn't charge you. If it was a completely different problem that had nothing to do with the first one,
Then
maybe.
they should charge you. So what happened with us is, with one of the companies, is they charged. So the owner of the toilet problem called up and said, I really don't think you should charge us for the second visit, or charge me the higher bill of the 2, but you shouldn't charge for both because it was the same problem. And the second person had said that they sent a new person the first time. So what's interesting is people, it's a matter of doing business, and you think that people would worry about social media, which is another issue we were going to talk about.
Yeah.
But they never got back. And so the owner called again, the plumbing company, trying to straighten it out, and they still haven't called back. The last I heard, they still hadn't called back. Poor way of doing business.
Very poor way.
So anyway, I had one of the interns look up on the internet warranties. How long is reasonable? Okay, so reasonable. So there was one where, I should say it, so you got to be kidding, and they printed it out so small you can't read it. But it said the period of coverage, and this is you got to be kidding. This is on somebody's big website. A period of coverage. I don't have it, but anyway, this is funny. They said the following warranties apply. If it's not covered by the original, do not apply if it's not covered by the original warranty. And they had a whole list of 10 things when it doesn't apply. And then in the end, it never said when they do warrant anything. And I was saying to myself, you got to be kidding. And they had this big plumbing supply house. So they never had any warranties. Basically, no warranties.
It's always in the exclusions to these things. Even like an insurance policy, it's the same thing where the devil is in the details. And if they say, well, we're going to come and, if you have water damage to your house, you can buy a flood insurance policy. And, these are the things that it will cover. And it's kind of vague what it covers. But then it specifically says, not this, not this, not this. So an average person, how are they supposed to really know? And if there's so many things excluded, how do you know what is covered?
That's why people don't go for the warranties. I have more people say, don't get the warranty, don't get the warranty. Because it's like my nephew, he brought his car back, and he said, well, they do have, it's covered every day. The warranty covers them every day except the ones that end in Y.
You gotta be kidding.
Yeah. This is a whole you got to be kidding show.
But what about the ones that, I think you've brought this up before, and I don't even know if they're called warranty programs, but when you have that repair service on equipment in the house, like boilers and other types of machinery, is that the same thing as a warranty?
Yeah, those are types of warranties. What happens, there are a few out there, and I even got taken on one. You know, what happens is you buy the warranty, it seems like a good deal. You don't need any help or anything, and a lot of them say you have to have it 3 months before it kicks in. But then when you call, they don't send anybody, there's nobody there, you've been scammed.
Oh.
But there are some that you're not scammed, but you have to pay a co-payment.
Oh.
So you pay so much a month and then a co-payment. And then they send somebody down, and that happened to me too. And they said, well, this isn't covered under your warranty. And how do you know that your boiler needs this or that? Because you're not a boiler person.
Right.
So you figure, well, you need the heat, you need this.
Yeah.
You pay it. It's almost like I shouldn't say almost like a dentist, because we had that wonderful Matt Finkelstein on who was a riot there. But you don't know what they're doing in your mouth.
No. Oh, and certain things, I get back to insurance and warranties, because in some ways they're almost the same concept, where they're
You're paying the insurance.
You're paying money so that you won't have to spend a lot of money if something goes wrong, but you have to weigh.
Well, that is insurance. That's you. Your
Yes.
insurance.
So you have to weigh up, like if somebody wants dental insurance, because in our business we have a lot of people who ask about dental insurance, and so you figure out, well, what is it going to cost a month? And then if it's going to cost $50 a month, okay, so you're going to be spending, $1,200 a year, right?
50
50,
times 12.
so it'd be 600, right?
Well, unless you go by a 24-month year.
Yeah, so then some of them cost over $100 too.
Oh, really?
So if we went, even say $100, or some of the real,
Like
more.
root canals and things like that.
But when you look at the cost of, you're spending, okay, it's $50 a month, so you're spending $600. And if it's any type of work that has to be done, it might cover, I'm not talking about like cleanings and stuff, but things like root canals or things like that. But then there might be a maximum amount that's going to be covered on the
Or a
policy.
percent.
Yeah, so it might not be worth it. And I
Right.
often wonder with these warranties, because a lot of the warranties, as you just said, are things that I don't always understand what it is and isn't covering,
Yeah.
if it's technical stuff.
Well, on another plumbing house that I read, and again, the print is so small, but they had general, I mean, this is like a period of coverage. Warranty coverage begins when the work is completed. I mean, this is a good one. And where general plumbing repairs are 30-day. This 8 to 10 months. This. So here's a company who puts it all out. So I mean, if you're going to get a warranty and you're going to buy it from somebody who's reliable. Here's one. My plumber does not guarantee any work marked no warranty on the face hereof. Any such work is performed as is and where is with all faults. And then this is another one. Applicable law may not allow the exclusion of implied warranties, so the above exclusions may not apply to you. So they're telling you no warranty, they don't guarantee anything. But if it's against the law, then they do cover it.
Well, that's what I was just going to ask the question, because you're
the implied warranty.
The implied versus the express warranty. So if somebody performs work for your car, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
that's another one.
You would think, and I think a lot of it is like, what do they say? The reasonable and prudent person would, right?
Right. I was going to say that's your key word, reasonable.
So if somebody performs work on your car, isn't there already an implied warranty that whatever is broken will be repaired?
Right.
And if it isn't repaired, then you bring it back. So why do you even need an express warranty on something like that?
Well, you really don't. You're right. It's implied. But then they said then somebody might say, well, it's a different problem. So the thing is, well, if it's a different problem, then that's it. Or if they fixed your tire and then your tire goes in a year from now, they shouldn't have to give you a new tire again.
Yeah.
You
It
know?
should last a certain amount of time, right?
Yeah, I'm thinking
Or
of
if they plug the tire, if you get a flat tire,
oh, yeah.
like and then you drive around for a week or two and the tire blows out because the plug popped out.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to make that distinction sometimes.
I'm sure everybody has it, but we had a car once where they didn't tighten the lug nuts and the wheel went flying.
Oh boy.
That was that was the end of them. We had another one. Oh, this is another this is a whole you've got to be kidding thing. We bought a new car. I won't say what dealer it was. It was this new car, and we paid for it, and we went to pick it up. Picked it up the next day, and one of the tires was flat, and they would not fix it. A brand new car, and they said, well, of course it's flat. It's a new tire.
Really?
Yeah.
That
They
is,
said
you
it
gotta
was
be kidding.
Yeah, they said you got to be kidding. You got to be kidding.
No. It's
Crazy. No, I'm
yeah.
thinking. I'm sure you're thinking too of all these things that people have done. That you've got to be kidding.
Well, what about, because I know you buy a lot of technology, computers, because you need
Yeah, I
it
love
for
my
your,
computers.
well, you
I
need
love the
it.
new
You need it to
computers.
manage business stuff
Yeah.
and everything. And you often will get asked, I'm sure, do you want a warranty on it?
Yeah.
Right? What do you do?
What a mistake.
You don't?
I
recommend-
tell you, I don't get the warranties anymore, because the problem is, even if you get it from a company that you trust, they say, well, you got to, if it's the first year, you got to go to the manufacturer. And sometimes the manufacturer, they're in a different country. You can't understand them. They want to connect to your computer and take it over. They tell you to ship it or do this or that. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. We got a great guy in our organization who's fantastic at stuff like that. But you had said too, social media, and we really don't need any notes on social media, but we do a lot. Lawyer Money and You does a lot.
Right.
That's not just on scams and things like that, but social media. And what do you consider social media?
I consider, well, it's too broad to say it's anything on the internet, but I would say things like Facebook and LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram.
I don't
those
know
are-
how to get on Instagram. I think the young kids
Yeah,
do.
the younger generation. I have tried getting on it, but I don't use it on a regular basis.
I don't
Twitter I
even know.
use sometimes, but not that
I
much.
still try to figure out. Well, we have a Twitter account, but one of the kids, that's the beauty of having teenagers as interns. They know all this stuff. They know all this stuff. They walk around with their phones, and they do their social media. What did they used to do? What did they used to look at?
They
it
would
and
talk
then-
to each other.
Yeah, they had to talk to each other. And nobody talks anymore.
No, you see
all
them in a
text.
group and they're all looking at their phones
Yeah,
and not
they're all-
talking to each other.
They're all texting. That's
But
fine.
it's interesting because social media is an excellent tool. If you're in a business, for instance, it's a great marketing tool. Or in our case, we have our show and we have our organization and all the things that we do. But at the same time, just like anything, there's a bad side to that too. And getting back to another topic that we so strongly advocate awareness about is the cyberbullying. And unfortunately, everything that is possible in the physical world becomes magnified
Yeah.
and can even do so much more damage, multiplied.
Because some of them use a
on the
phony name. And
Yeah.
they go after a kid. They think it's funny. These kids think it's funny. It's not funny.
No, and I mean, we've had some tragic consequences
Yeah.
of that when someone is bullied. It's just a sad, sad shame. So it can be abused, and that kind of leads to a question, getting back to law of the Law, Your Money, and You, is things are not regulated on the internet like they are in the non-cyber world. And I'm even talking about getting very deep, but it's the same thing as things like some of these terrorist organizations
Oh,
that
God,
post
yeah.
instructions on how to make bombs. The question is, should or should it not be regulated? Some advocates of free speech will say,
That's
well,
a good question.
but it's a very, very
You know
sensitive,
something? Yeah, that's a good
delicate
question.
subject.
Well, Michaela today came up with something. She said that something passed or something that she's been talking about and nobody listens to her. She's a very bright girl. And where the internet, like right now, you have to give the same internet speed to you, to me, to
Yes.
this one and that.
Mhm.
Did you hear about
That's
that?
called net,
passed-
they are eliminating net neutrality.
Yeah, that's what she
Meaning-
said.
so-
She says she's written to congressmen. What can we do about that? That's
The
terrible.
only thing we can do is to write to Congress, because what that does is it actually creates discrimination. I don't mean in the
Yeah.
sense of the same type of discrimination as racial.
Yeah,
But the
no.
thing is that,
Well, who gets it? You've got to be kidding.
Yeah.
Where is the internet? Isn't that funny? I always wonder about that.
Right.
Like where is it? It's in
but basically,
cyberspace.
if say a large multinational business, whether it's your internet provider or anything, so they have much more capital, they have much more resources. So that would mean that they could spend a lot more money to pay the internet provider, and they could have a more favorable service. So that when you do a Google search, for instance, if somebody does a Google search for internet provider in Brockton, Massachusetts or something, that provider could come up first because they're spending more to the internet
Right.
provider. And so it's things of that nature where it creates stratification within the internet world.
That seems like favoritism.
Yeah,
partiality.
and those that pay more will get more. I suppose you could consider it like any other business where you could have like airline travel, you could get first
yeah.
class or business class or.
Oh, speaking of airline travel, have you ever seen these airline travels where you've got more space but you don't? So now what they do is they charge you for a more favorable position, a row. So on some airlines, row 16 is a more favorable position, and they charge you more for that. I think you've got to be kidding. It's unbelievable. How are we doing here? Well, I don't want to leave.
No, it's so I mean,
The whole thing says we're in there. You've got to be kidding. But this whole thing
this
is
whole thing is you've got to be
is
kidding.
you've got to be kidding on this. Thank God they got school resource officers now.
I know. Imagine with all of this that's happening and the the magnification of so many things because it's in the cyber world, getting back to bullying and things.
Yeah.
Any type of exposure you're going to have instantly, everybody is going to know it because of the social media. And so it's good. It's good that there is a resource at the schools to listen
Yeah.
to the students who might have some problems. Maybe they're afraid to tell their parents, or maybe they feel that whoever they speak with at the school maybe is not taking a strong enough action. But whatever it is, there's somebody there to help them, and that's important.
Yeah, and the school resource officer cares. I mean, any school you have your good teachers, your great teachers, your poor teachers, and your teachers who play favorites. But the school resource officers, from what I've heard, do not play favorites. They look into it, and every child is important, and that's a nice feeling to know that.
I know.
You know?
I know. Just think of the difference in a child's life that somebody like that could make. If someone, and maybe someone who is different and being bullied, imagine if they have a sense that somebody there is accepting of them. And even though some of the students there may not be, you would hope that they are, but if it isn't.
You know what else too? We're running out of time now, but I want to talk about one of our shows coming up. We're going to have this nice young fellow, he even says he wants to be on the show. But today, the kids are worried about when they get out of school, they got to worry about college loans. I mean, always said that college should be free. But so they go to school and they may go into a job that doesn't pay as much as
Right.
the others, but requires a good deal of education and everything. And you find a lot of them now are going in the Army. This fellow Jeff, Jeff, he's a sensible young man. He says first he went to community school and worked part-time and went to school part-time because he said he didn't want to get out of college with big loans.
Yeah.
Then there's a program that people should be aware of, and we found that out through our officer George of the Sharon Police when he was on. The Army is now taking people and paying for their college education. But not only that, they're paying, if you stay in long enough, they'll pay all your medical. You can go in at 20 and retire when you're 40.
Wow.
Get all your college paid for, and then when you're 40, go on to something else. You get your pension, you get your free medical, your free dental. Isn't that's a wonderful,
It is.
wonderful thing? And they're being fussy now who they take.
Oh, really?
It used to be years ago, if you were, went before the judge and you used to say you go in the Army or go to jail. But now the Army don't want you. You either stay clean or we won't keep you in the Army.
Yeah. Well, I think it's good that's happening because after all, these young people are really putting their lives at risk, and they're
Yeah,
and they should
you
be
got to be kidding.
they should be recognized for that. They should get some kind of a
They
benefit
should
from
be.
it.
I mean, I don't want to get into bending of the knee or this or that, but I mean, if you're going to protest a different way. Don't protest by really damning your country. I mean, our country stands for the right for you to protest.
Exactly. Right.
But not that. So,
Yeah.
you watch that and you say, you've got to be kidding. You've got to be kidding. And when they infiltrate down to high school kids doing that, they don't know what they're doing. They don't understand. You say, you've got to be kidding. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But we covered a lot tonight.
Yeah,
Really,
yeah.
people really love it. And if anybody, I mean, a lot of the stuff is from our viewers.
Sure.
All
Definitely.
that, and they ask for us.
Yeah.
And this is a great thing. This is really great. Oh, there's so much more I wanted to do, but you got to wind up.
I'm going to have to because
Yeah.
it's time.
Yeah.
Well, thank you
was
so much
fun.
for being a guest on the show today, Roberta.
Oh, I loved it.
And we thank our viewers for watching. Please let us know again. As we
Yes.
always say, let us know.
Support your
if-
local police department, whatever town you're in. And if there's a town that we haven't done, let us know. We'll do it.
Yes, police officers are our friends.
They sure are.
So again, let us hear from you if you have any comments and just like to say hello. We'd love to hear from
Yeah.
you. Because remember, this is your show. The law, your money, and
you.